All right, my fishing friends, today we are going to look and talk a little bit about the tackle you may need when you go ice fishing. There's not a lot of tackle you need in ice fishing. That's one of the beautiful things about ice fishing. When you get out there, you find out you need the auger to get through make a hole so you can get through the ice. You need a rod, some tackle, but there's not a lot of equipment. Yet, ice fishing is probably one of the most creative fishing ventures you can have. There are so many fishermen that I've met on the lake ice fishing have been super creative. Made their shanties, made their chairs, made all the apparatus to hold their depth finders and all the things they want to do. And that's really one of the beauties of ice fishing. The other beauty of ice fishing, when you go ice fishing, you've kind of jumped into a camaraderie of fishermen who really love the sport. Because you can walk over and ask them how they're doing, what they're using, and they're usually very, very open. Sometimes there's little groups that come on the ice and have a little picnic like and cook, and I mean it's really very, very cool. If you haven't done it, just sometimes going out there and investigate what ice fishing is all about. You can walk right out there and meet some people, which is the thing that I love most about it. And like I say, if you don't have something, they may have it and they'll let you use it. Now you get on open water and regular season, you get within a casting distance of somebody and they're already giving you some signs that they don't want you around them. Completely different. Ice fishing's cool. Well, when you're set to go, one of the things you need is a bucket, I think. You can put all your stuff in there. In this bucket, I have a seat cushion, which works out great, you know. The other thing I have is a rod holder, two of them because I have two rods and I want to use it in the different depths in the ice. You got to have a scooper here because the ice will build up on the top of the ice hole, and you need to have that to scoop it off. I have an extra rod in here, really not used too often, got it a long time ago, got it for a gift. I got a pair of gloves, and that's about it. And I have a lot of room to put a lot more in there, and I've often put a heater in there and hand pads and warmers and whatever. The other thing I have is this little pouch here that keeps on the outside, so when I'm fishing and I'm sitting on this, I can just reach down and pick up one of the tackles that I have in here. Now, tackle box, true tackle box. One of the unique things is this is my tackle box, and in here I have enough lures to fish pretty much for any day, unless I get hung up a lot and lose some. The cool part of that is it doesn't take a lot of tackle, and the tackle you'll use is small because remember, when you're ice fishing, the colder the water, of course, that it is, the fish don't move so much. They don't even bite so hard. So they also like little things. You may be fishing with maggots or maybe little worm pieces, but whatever it is, it's small, tiny, everything goes slower. The whole thing slows down. The entire lake slows down. Even the big northern and anything else you might pull through the ice is much slower than they are in the summertime. Now in this tackle box, I have a multitude of little bitty hooks, all kinds of, they all got names. You can go down into the store to where go to like the Dick's or something and see some of the ice fishing tackle. You can go crazy with all the different ice fishing tackle pieces that's in there. But they're all kind of basically the same. You get a couple of lures, and I'm not here to tell you what lures to get and to go fish. That's something you want to investigate on your own. But there is some tackle that you need. These here are little floats. These work out great. You know, you can put them on your line and you can watch. Remember I said the bite is so slight that you can barely see it move, and these little floats will help you to do that. Put your line in there, lock it, and you watch your float go up and down. And that, you may not feel it, but you'll see that little lure go up and down like that. It's pretty cool. And there's a few other little things in here, a little bit bigger hook. But again, I'm not trying to show you so much tackle, but starting to think about, boy, this really, if you took this in a rod and found a hole that's open, and I've seen guys do that, take their tackle, take a rod, and go to the lake and find an open hole that's not being used, it just could be chopped out real easy, and fish right there, and have great success. The other thing you may have, and you want to have, is a cold. When you're cold, it's cold out there. One of the things this is old, this is very antique. There's hand warmers today that work really well. But this right here, I can show this, you take these little sticks here, you put one in inside here, you start it on fire, and you close it up, and away you go. I guess you can tell how long I've been ice fishing because this is old. This is probably condemned, not even available anymore, hopefully. But you know what? It did work. It warms up. It doesn't go on fire. It doesn't even smoke. It just warms this whole little steel case and works real well. But today, you know, today we have much easier. These little things here are called hotties. You can get them for your toes and you can get them for your gloves. These are the ticket to have today. You don't need that old-fashioned style there. But these, you wriggle them a little bit, get them fired up, put them in your sock, or put them in your hands, gloves, and it warms you right up. I think that's obviously the way to go today. The other thing you need, and with this bucket, one of the important things to me is having everything I want to bring and everything I want to bring back in this bucket attached to the bucket. So when I'm ready to go fishing, I'm not looking for anything. I'm grabbing my bucket because everything I got for ice fishing is in there, and off I go. That's a great thing. And then when I leave, everything I have goes back in the bucket or on the spots. So I have spots for everything. Okay, there's a couple different rods I like to use. This one here is a baitcaster. I'm big on baitcasters in open water, so I certainly should be a little bit when it comes to ice fishing. Now, it's a small, short rod. You're not far from the hole. You're just tippling like this, maybe up and down, doing a little jig, as you've seen all these little jigs in here, and you're barely moving. Now, you see on the tip of this rod, I have a line that goes, the line will go through this tip, and it's just a little spring steel there, really, really like a piano wire almost. This springs back, and that little color bead is just so you can see it better. The line goes through there from your rod, and down it goes. Now you can set this rod into your holder here, and then you just watch that like a bobber. You watch that little thing, and it, believe me, it will move so lightly. You go, oh my gosh, and then you can start reeling it and start to feel them when he actually gets to the rod. Pretty cool. And here's another one that's an open face, same principle. I don't have the tip on there, but I have a few in there. I do like using a tip. If I'm using a little bit of a jig that's pretty good size, got some weight to it, and I really need to work it, then I won't use the tip. I'll use this, and I'll pop it off the bottom, up and down, and that way I can feel it. So when the fish does hit, I got them. I'm pretty well ready to go. Once you get out there and you got your equipment, and you see a lot of tip-ups all around the lake, and what that is a way to be able to fish a number of spots at the same time from where you are. As long as you stay within the legal limits of the lake that you're on, you can actually put up maybe 3 or 4 different holes along a rock pile, an edge, to be able to find those fish just like you would when you were out fishing in open water. And this gives you an opportunity to set up tackle, set up your bait and so forth, and fish at a depth you want, and then watch for the tip up. That's where the word tip up. When the tip up, you know a fish has hit your line and taken away, and you're going over, run over there and pull them out of the water. Now I'm going to show you this is an old style. I tell you what, it's an oldie but a goodie for sure. They still make these, and there's a good reason, because they're built good. They work well, and I've had this for a good number of years, and it's like the first day I brought it home. This is the way this works, and it's pretty simple. The line goes on here, obviously, and you let your line out by hand to the depth you want, and it goes through here, and then what you do, you put it in the water, you put this over here like this and lock it on there, and now you got the depth set. Now if that fish comes and moves this here at all, you see right up here, if it moves this away, bingo, up it goes, and your tip up, you know there's a line, a bait has hit your bait, and the fish is moving. But you know what? We got a little film from one of the times we did a ice fishing show out on Chabanaw Lake. We met a guy using this exact piece. One of the nice things about being out on Chabanaw, especially ice fishing, is you get to meet a lot of nice people. It's like being in a big boat, having lots of fun. We're here with Mark. Mark is using a tip-up version here, and it looks like what, a big shiner?
Yeah, big shiner, roach with a quick strike rig.
Let's take a look at that if we can, if I may.
Yeah.
The quick strike rig here is with the hook in the tail there, right?
Yeah, and one in the front.
And one in the front. And then on a nice shiner, so when he hits it, he's hooked right away, really, isn't he?
Yep.
That's great. That's great.
I already set the depth on the line using a slip knot to mark it, so if I catch one, I can remark my spot on the line right away without having to recheck the bottom again.
Good. Yeah, good.
And then just dropping them down, fishing about 6 feet off the bottom with this one.
Couple little split shots up the line there.
Yep. Keep them down on the bottom.
That was like a Declan line there. It's a little heavier line than what we've been fishing with it a little bit.
Yeah.
But we're going after a little bigger game here, aren't we?
Yeah. Then I just wrap the line back up on the spool so it gets to the slip knot. Turn it over. Set it up on the top of the spool there. And then I've got a line minder. It's a sensor
Oh yeah.
that when it tips up, it has a switch in there that the light turns on, sends a signal back to a beeper that I have inside my little shack. So
Oh,
I don't
that's
even
great.
have to pay any attention to the line.
That's great. So as this goes, when the fish hits it, it pulls that spool.
Right, and then
Flips that
what
off.
happens, we'll just flip it right here.
Sure.
Fish will pull on it,
There it goes.
tip up, go off. The little light, you can see the little red light on it
Yep,
there.
a little bit of lights
And
on.
then over in my shack, I have a little beeper and it'll start beeping.
Now is that electronics once again in today's thing? You don't have to look out the little windows to see if your
No.
flag going up. The little beeper goes off and tells you where you to go.
Yep.
That's
I do a
great.
lot of night fishing, and this way you don't have to pay any attention to them at night.
Right. Well, and the little light tells you which one's on fire too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's great. That's great. Well, thanks, Mark. Appreciate you sharing that with us, and I hope you catch a big one. We'll come back and video it, okay? Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Well, that shows you in action. Too bad he didn't get one when we were there, but that is the way to do it. And having the little lights go on at night, that's really cool. I think that's awesome to be able to do that. That's not all the way. There was one other type of tip-up that I'm going to share with you now that you probably haven't seen, and it comes directly from Sweden. My nephew and my brother had a chance to go to Sweden. They did some ice fishing, and it was pretty cool what they brought back with the baraboo and everything else in there, but the most exciting thing was their tip-ups, which we'll show you now. That was pretty neat. You know, the other thing I think that most of the viewers at home probably looked at that, what kind of tip-up was that? You know, I mean, it's nothing we have here in the States. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about how this tip-up works.
Well, let me demonstrate it for you, if you would.
Sure, I'll be the ice. I think you stick this in the ice.
This stake here is what they pound to secure the tip up into the ice, and then the line here has these loops on it, and what they are is just it's like setting your line now to foot increments so you know how deep you are, and these loops right here,
Yeah, hold that up.
you would say you want to go 2 feet deep, you would set the number 2 hole right on the edge of the tip up, and this would be baited down, and the weight would just hold it just like so. Then you would take this cork-like system. I'm not sure what explosive charge is in it, but it does have an explosive charge.
Is this when Roland talked about the bang?
This is when
When you get a bang, you run over there and you pull the line up.
So we'd be sitting in our ice igloos and drinking our coffee, and what we'd be doing is waiting for one of these to
Okay,
pop.
I'll be your fish here, but your holder, that goes right in the little holder there,
That's right.
right there.
And you would just be waiting. And let's let's
Okay.
demonstrate
All right, sure.
what happens.
Okay, I'll be a better fish this time.
Okay.
But this, put it through the little loop here again. I lost the loop. Okay, we'll say that's the loop.
And when the fish gets on there, what it would do is it would pull the loop off the end of your tip up,
And snap that, didn't it?
and it would snap that. And then this point of this trigger here would go right into this explosive charge, and you would hear it. And that's exactly what we did. We would hear it. And just for an example, we'll give it a try.
I'll be the
Okay.
fish again here.
We'll just set up a simulation here. And what we'd do, we'd
Oh, that's what we did. We got one coming, folks. I tell you, that's not a little bang. That's a big bang. Well, I tell you what, you can hear that across the neighborhood. Without a doubt, that blows the cork all to pieces. I had no idea when you talk about explosive, that's what it was. But that's exactly what it is, ain't it?
that's exactly what
You know,
happened.
when Roland first said that on film there, I wondered, I says, well, how could you hear it? I look at this thing, it sounds like a little cap.
what's beyond the little
What's
cap?
beyond the little cap.
Blows that cork all to pieces here, and did a good job. So you've seen it live right here, right now. And
About the only thing you would ever have to look for is you'd be sitting in your ice igloo. You would hear that bang go off, but believe us, we did not just use one pole. So we'd have, say, 10 of these set up
Oh,
on
gosh,
the
yeah.
ice. And the first thing you'd have to look for is see what tip up is up.
yeah,
and
because
that's
that gives
when
you the
cork
flag.
would come
Yeah,
up.
it gives you a little flag there, so you went over it just kind of like we do. Then you grab it and pull it and bring them up.
Grab and pull.
I saw you do that. Now, here's another question I thought was kind of unique that not everybody have seen before. This is kind of unique hook. Now, I seen you were using a big, sort of a big...
Like a Cisco.
Like a Cisco.
Dead bait.
And so it was dead. Was it frozen or was it...
Yeah, it was frozen. And, it just doesn't really matter. They can smell it.
Sure. Well, and you were kind of going after northern, you were saying before, right?
Right.
And how would you hook that? How would you...
Well, what we were just doing is being dead bait. We just put it right in through the back, and we'd have it so the hook would be sitting just like so, with the Cisco on it.
Right, so the bait would be sitting level and or horizontal to the...
Right, and if you gave it slight action, which you could sit there and jig it, but we didn't. But you could, and that's what it basically is designed for.
Sure. Well, it worked good, and I know that we only got one on the video there.
Right,
Yeah,
well,
that's the way
you
it
can't
works.
keep the camera with us every day.
No, and like always, boy, you should have been in the next day.
Right.
That's right. But I appreciate you sharing that video with us. And Sweden looked like a beautiful country, and you must have had a great time.
Oh, it was my
know.
pleasure.
Absolutely. And we all got a startle from that bang.
Oh, that's funny.
It's definitely for outside, not to be used inside. But a good thing we only had one of those, so we don't have to show you again. But thank you, Jared. Sure appreciate being part of the show once again.
Well, hopefully this gives you some ideas, and most of all, I hope you get some energy up to go ice fishing. And even, like I said before, even if you're not an ice fisherman, you don't have any of the equipment, but you're curious about it, go to one of the small lakes, watch and see if you can see some fishermen out there, walk out there and talk to them, get a little bit of an idea of what they're doing, and you get the experience right from there, and you can slowly go at it, get this and a rod and a couple things, and you'll be fishing in no time. Hopefully this will help you and you get out there and do some ice fishing.